We will get to Discipline is Everything Part 3 in just a moment. A few quick announcements. Summer Solstice Math Olympiads competition. It's an event held in mid-June. Links in the description. Some of the prizes are a free month of classes with me. You can also get my free small notebook class in the fall. This was a big hit last year. I had over 50 students attend, probably more like 60 or 70. I got no complaints. Everybody said it was a fantastic class. So you can get free entry to that class by participating in this Olympiad. The link is in the description. I don't know a lot about it. The AMCs are 6 months away. Current class schedule, take a screenshot of this. I'm not going to talk about it for long. All times are Pacific. If you're interested in trying one of the classes out, all of my classes have a risk-free trial, which means you can sit in and you don't owe anything until you want to stay in the class. If you don't like it, it's not for you, it's free, no problem. I'm very confident that you will enjoy the class if you take a shot at it and see what you think. I do want to make a point about the upcoming classes. I'm trying to get an intro to number theory class started the second full week of May, that's this month. The day is not decided yet. It would be decided by you. So if you'd like to be a part of that class to get it off the ground, it'd be an hour and a half per week. It might go twice weekly in the summer, and the goal is to finish the whole text before the November test. We use the AOPS text in this course, and we do every problem in the text, every challenge, everything. Try that out. Give me a message if you're interested in that. There's some intensive courses coming up from June 10th to 21st. First, Intro to C and P, which is Counting and Probability, and Intro to Number Theory. These courses run 2 weeks. We cover the entire text in that time. It's 2 hours of lecture, 2-hour break to do homework, and 2 hours of lecture after. Finally, there's going to be Intro to Geo coming up. I don't have that class started yet or the time, either mid-June or early July. It will not finish the whole text by the November test. It's the biggest book that AOPS has. There'll be a summer 2-hour AMC pass test review, and again an AMC 8 course that ends at the time the AMC 8 is taken next January. You can inquire through my website. By the way, one last thing to show, I do have a bigger gap in my teeth now because the expander that I'm using has made it wider. You'll see that in the video. It'll get fixed, but right now it has to sit for about 5 months before they take the device out and I get to start Invisalign. So nothing wrong with my teeth. They'll get better over time. That's it for now. Let's get to the video. See you in a moment. And how are you? I hope you've all been well. I wanted to get back to part 3 of Discipline is Everything. And so you might have been wondering in the first 2 parts, what does all of this self-discipline have to do with preparing for the math competition that I primarily learn about, on your channel, one of the primary things we learn about here. So I'm going to get to that in this one. Hopefully you can see how all of this connects and why I brought it up in a channel that's about mathematics. We will start, as usual, in this series with a quote. As you know, I love those. Why? Because I'm not reinventing the wheel here, right? This has all been done before. I'm just bringing to you the nuggets of wisdom that I've collected across my studies and my review of things that have been done before me. And so I collect a lot of these ideas and I store them, and then I think about ways I can present them to you in ways that may benefit you. So we'll start with the quote from Harry Truman. He's kind of a controversial figure. I will state nothing about what I think of him as a person. Even controversial figures can say things that are of merit. And so I'm going to use this quote from him. In reading the lives of I modified it here to say people. In reading the lives of great people, I have found that the first victory they won was over themselves. Self-discipline with all of them came first. So we as ourselves, as people, we want to be great, right? In some way, and whatever that means to you, it can mean different things. You'd like to have a great life, you'd like to do things, whatever it is you want to achieve, but all of it's going to start with self-discipline. It comes first. So if you're going to try to qualify for the American International Mathematics Examination, that's a pretty great thing to set yourself upon as a task. If you want to get higher than that, it's obviously going to be an even greater thing. And so with all of those things, if you're going to try to achieve those kinds of objectives, those kinds of goals, then you probably better start here. That's what he's saying, okay? Well, not about AMC, but in general. So the first part we're going to get to next, we talked in the first 2 parts about your thoughts and your emotions and your words, maybe the foods that you eat. and those kinds of things. Now we're going to get into time. You can be disciplined with your time. So we want to look at time management and how we can use our time wisely to the best benefit of our objectives. So, as I wrote here, this is your most precious resource, right? It's finite, okay? So another quote that I found here is that the price of anything is the amount of life that you exchange for it. Famous American writer, poet, philosopher, Henry David Thoreau. And so that's what it is. That's what time is. It's your life. You're spending your life, your actual life, like your lifeblood, your time on this earth, that you have to accomplish things, to do what it is you're going to do in order to spend that. That's it. That's currency, right? That's currency of you. Your literal life, your hourglass of time is dripping down. The sands are going down. You're spending it doing things. So how do you do it? Are you spending it on frivolous matters? Right? There's only so much of this. Money, you can make tons of money. They can print more of it apparently at the government at any time. But for you don't even know how much you have. Okay? So then start thinking about, this is a really important thing in your life. It's a construct that you're going to use to get where you want to go. Okay? So as I put here, put down your vices. An example that I give of this is actually from a while ago. It was more than 10 years ago. I used to have an issue with video games. I would play too much, and I used it as a distraction, self-medicating for depression. And I couldn't control myself. I couldn't control my habit of playing the game to self-medicate, to treat my underlying dissatisfaction with life. And rather than think about what I needed to do to fix those things, I would go play a game because it's like a dopamine lever. You just pull it, oh look, I accomplished something, but you didn't. You didn't really accomplish anything. So at some points we might be somewhat dependent on our vices. You probably have some right now. There are things that you do that you wish you wouldn't spend your time on, but you just can't seem to quit doing those things. Maybe it's doom scrolling some social media app, right? Maybe you like to interact with people on there in the social networks or whatnot. Could be Discord, could be Instagram, could be Reddit, wherever you want. Or maybe you just scroll endlessly on YouTube videos and you watch all the shorts and you do it day by day. And what are you doing? You're kind of pulling a dopamine lever, right? And so how do you do that? And what is this thing about the power cord? Once I realized I was not able to control my decision on my own, I lacked the self-discipline, I just said, well, then I better remove it as an option. I took the power cord to my computer and I gave it to a family friend. And I said, hold this and don't give it back to me for 3 weeks. Why? Because if I can't control it, then it needs to be removed from my decision-making process. So if there's things that you would like to get rid of as far as vices, they're currently habits that you formed. You formed a habit that at this time of day, I do this. When I should be doing something else, I do this because this is easier and it makes me feel good in some way, whatever. I can't help myself. I'm procrastinating. Whatever it is, get rid of it. Put it down. If you can't control it, give it to someone else for a period of time until you're ready to bring it back in and manage it responsibly. Right? The transition between childhood and adulthood, as many of you are starting to come up against the transformation between your parents are exerting their control and you are now starting to take over autonomy, is going to be the amount of discipline you can give yourself. If you can't give that to yourself in some regards of your life, remove those things from your presence. Don't let them control you. You must control those things. That is maturity. Okay? So, how do you start? This question came up by a person on my Discord server who I'm very grateful to, actually. They're a really good member of the server. And they asked me, they said something like, how do I make decisions that are powerful enough that they overcome my love for dopamine? That's the biggest question, because I make goals, I make decisions, but it's hard to stick to. Probably the most difficult thing that one can do, in fact. So hopefully the second or third part of your video can help me answer that question for myself. If I'm able to figure out how I can go about making these sorts of changes to my routine, I can start being in control of how I want myself to turn out. And I think that's the key. Being able to make good decisions for your life and then knowing how to enforce those decisions on yourself. Thank you, King Ravi. He's actually the one who mentioned that to me. And so I kind of want to try to answer that question now. So how do we do that? How do I stop pulling the dopamine lever? How do I exert control over my decisions? And first, I'd like to ask you to define your goals. Write it down on a piece of paper. What is it you want to do? What is it you want to accomplish? Okay? And then with those goals in mind, define your success. The success is not the same for everyone. Some of you want to make it to MOP. Some of you want to make it to USAMO or JMO. Some of you want to make it to AMY. Some of you just want to learn how to think better. You want to do creative problem solving. For many of you, though, it's a part of your goals for your apps for college, or maybe you just want to do it for the love of math. All of those things, whatever it looks like. I met a student recently over the weekend in a consultation. Their goal is to take their knowledge and use it to help other people. That's success for them. What does it look like for you? Write it down, define it. What is it to you? Okay, I'm not going to tell you what success is. That's yours to decide. Okay? But let's think about that success now. Here's another quote, because again, there's so many quotes. I'm not the first person to say these things or think about these things. And so I'm just passing along. I've cultivated these for this message, and hopefully it benefits you. Without self-discipline, success is impossible, period. Who said it? Lou Holtz, Hall of Fame football coach from Notre Dame. And so think about that. If you don't have this and you want this, you want success, you don't have this, impossible, period. Okay, is he someone who accomplished something? He's in the Hall of Fame for a reason. You don't get there by not accomplishing things. Okay, back up here. All of the great people, their first victory won was over themselves. Then start fighting the battle now. You need to defeat yourself. Okay, yourself is the greatest enemy that will keep you from getting the things you want. Yes, there's external factors out there. There's people who might not want you to succeed. Maybe there's groups of people who don't want you to succeed. Ignore all of that. You can overcome if you want to. Make the decision and start battling yourself. So again, the question becomes, how? How do we do that? Number one, also, don't expect to be motivated every day. You're not going to be motivated you're not going to get up and sunshine and rainbows and we're skipping along in the park. I'm going to do it today. I got it. I got the energy. No, some days you're not going to want to. Fact, not going to want to. So what do? You will not be able to rely on motivation. Don't count on it. Count on discipline. And that discipline is going to come from your habits. You're going to have to form habits. And so I said here, this is not my quote as well, people do not decide their futures. They decide their habits. You decide your habits. What are they? What do you want them to be? Right? They do not decide their futures. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures. Okay? That was said by F.M. Alexander. I'm honestly not sure who that is. You'll have to look them up if you are interested. So, where do you begin forming your habits? I wrote it. Here's just my idea now. Choose one thing to take control of within your realm. What is it? What is one thing that you want to do? Don't try to do all of them all at once. Just pick one. So for me last year, for instance, I wanted to start working on my fitness, on health. And so I started in the spring of last year, and the kids on my server had asked me about it. I started just simple home workouts. 6 push-ups is the most I could do in one spot. Because I hadn't done exercise in so long. It had been many years, in fact. And so then I continued to work on that 2-3 times a day. That was what I wanted to work on. So I did. I got up to a point where I could do 35 straight push-ups, and I decided, okay, it's time to get a gym membership, and on you go. But where did I start? I started terribly at 6. 6 perfect form push-ups was all I could do in one shot. And then you slowly, at the beginning, you don't gain a lot. You don't see a lot of improvement. It takes time. It's tiny little increments of improvement over time. And so this is what it was. It was a habit. It became a habit. And what I tell people, you want to start with anything. For me, it was fitness. If they want to start doing fitness, don't target the big thing. I need to go do an hour workout. No. Just do 5 minutes. Is it a walk? Is it some push-ups? Is it some jumping jacks? What is it? Is it when I run around the block one time? Go spend 5 minutes doing it. Every day, similar time, at night, in the morning, whatever it is. For you as students, it's probably going to be either in the morning when you first wake up, or maybe in the evening after you are home from school, and the afternoon. Okay? So do that. Go spend 5 minutes doing it. Don't think about what you're going to accomplish with it. Form the habit. Once the habit is formed, now you can expand that. Now you can say, okay, I'd like this 5 minutes to become 10. I'm also going to throw in sit-ups. I'm also going to throw in jump rope, speed rope. I'm also going to throw in a quick jog around the block, whatever it is. And then once the habit is formed, now it is what you do. It's no longer, I might do this or I'd like to go do this, because that's not what it is. Now you have a schedule. Just as the habit you formed up here for the vice, when I wake up, I scroll my phone. Really? Well, you can do that with anything. It doesn't have to be things that take away from your productivity. It can also be things that help it. And then once that's done, you don't think about it anymore. I'm not going to do this. It's what I'm doing. I'm doing it now. And you will just be doing that whenever you want to from that point, because it's a habit that you formed, right? So that would be the first thing. Pick one, start with one, right? Think of all of the things that you would like to change within your realm of self-discipline and within your habits as battlefields. It's a war. Okay, you're not going to win the war in one shot. You're not going to snap your fingers and go, that's it, I'm an adult now. I can make self-disciplined decisions and get where I want to go. No, it's a sequence of battles. It's a sequence of small parts that you're going to change over time, one at a time. Pick one, start there. Okay, so let's go back to one question up here. We said over here, how do you start? Here you go. You ready? There it is. It's really simple. You start. It's not how do you start, it's you start. That's it. That's the answer. Start. Okay? Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till the next moment. Whatever it is, that one thing, start tonight, start today, whatever it is, pick that out. I'm going to go do this today before I go to sleep. Is it 5 minutes of rewriting your notes? Is it going back to rework that problem, number 23, that you solved a month ago or you saw done in some class? Go resolve that problem. Can you? If you can't solve the problem that you saw someone solve before, you can't remember how to do it, then how well do you understand what's actually going on? Okay, so next up, write a list of what habits you want. What are they? Write a list of them. That's not hard, right? It's just a list of habits. You're not saying I'm going to get all these done right now. It's just a list of what habits you have, and you're going to be looking at those one at a time later on. But for now, write that list of habits that you want and pin it to your wall. Okay? Maybe above your bed, maybe on your door frame, maybe as a poster on your board. You got a whiteboard in your room, small one, a lot of people do. Write them on there. Make it a note so you can look at it when you leave your room. You can look at it when you go to sleep. That is what your goals are, right? They're habits that you'd like to form. Okay? So I like to do that, set it down somewhere. I make to-do lists for myself. When I get up, then I start thinking about those lists and try to accomplish them. Then next up, I put organize your space, right? What is your space? Your office, your room, wherever it is you do your studies. Is it in chaos right now? Is it disorderly? Probably not if you have parents, because they're probably, helping you to be motivated to organize that space. But make sure that your space is organized, even if it's just your desk and there's clutter around it, one section at a time, right? Is it overwhelming? Does order come out of chaos? Right? You have this chaotic environment that you're working in. Does order come out of that, do you really think? Probably not. So order your space first, and then from that you create structure, and out of that structure and organization you can then create the structure within yourself. Okay? So next up, I put eliminate distractions. Apps, right? Discord. If you're on my Discord server, great. I hope you're using it wisely. Discord is easily could be a time drain for you. If you can't control your time on there, you're in all the general chats, talking all the time, probably you should just delete it. Even mine. Delete it for a while. Not forever. You can come back when you're ready to exert self-discipline over your actions and be responsible with your time on the app. Come back to it. I just did this with Instagram. No, you're not going to find me on there. It's a private family and friends account. I don't use it for business or anything like that, or for this channel. Okay? But I found myself spending too much time on it. Did I make a big announcement? I'm going to leave. Hey, I'm taking a break. No, I don't tell anyone. I deactivated and uninstalled because I'm taking responsibility for my time, for myself. You can do the same thing. It isn't hard to make that decision. Just decide what you want more. Do you want to distract yourself with your vices, or do you want to get rid of them and make the progress that you need to make? Make the decision. You decide. You get to pick what that is. Right? So eliminate those distractions from your life. You can always bring them back once the structure and order is created, once the habits are formed. And then don't give up the habits when you bring those back in. In reality, Discord should be a tool. YouTube should be a tool. It shouldn't be something that you solely use for entertainment. If the entertainment side of it is taking up more of your time than the part that's used as a tool to improve yourself, then that's what needs to change right there. Okay? So start with that, eliminate it for now, add them back in one at a time, and then try to control yourself. Once this starts to get out of control, give away the power cord, uninstall the app. Okay? I don't care if you're on my server. I'm not looking for tons of, you can be on my server, it's great. I have a lot of good quotes on my server, by the way. I love them. There's a quote section. You can go on there and find motivation at times. But again, that's not the only thing on there. There's a community of people who love math. You're welcome to join. The invite is in all of my video descriptions in general. And so join it, but join it responsibly. Use it as a tool. Limit your time. If you can't limit your time, then eliminate. Eliminate what it is you're not able to exert control over. That would be your vices at that point. So next up, it's just ideas about how you might attempt these things. There's not a one-size-fits-all, okay? You might try something like when you wake up, meditate on when you awaken on what you will do that day. State it to yourself in your mind. I'm going to do this. Repeat it even as a mantra. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get up and do X or do Y or do Z. Whatever it is that you would like to do, whether before you start your day, maybe some of you might have a point where you wake up and you pray it or whatever else for your religious beliefs. You could go do that. You might get up and go through your morning routine. Maybe you should try mixing things up. Try changing what you do. Is your phone by your bed? You get it, you scroll it for a while when you first wake up. Try putting it across the room and getting a small alarm clock. A tiny little alarm clock that has no apps on it. You just turn it off and you get out of bed. You might try that. Try doing things to mix up your habits, to mix up your routines. Change things, do things in that way. Then what? I put here another quote. One day or day one, you decide. I think someone shared this one with me. The author is unknown. So you can say, one day I'm going to start preparing. We have 6 months right now till the AMCs. It is May. In 6 months, in November, you will take the 2024 AMC 10 or 12, whichever it is you're planning to take at that time. So you can keep saying one day, but it's coming around pretty quick now. It's long past time to begin your prep for the 2024 competition season. So is it one day in the future or is it today, day one, right now? You decide one thing, right? 5 minutes. Just do 5 minutes of that thing. And then as you slowly take over all of these parts of your life that you did not have control over, now you are ready to start expanding your time and focusing on the things that you would like to achieve. Okay, so then the next thing over here, I also wrote, you'll never get there. Never get there unless you start. No race is won until you start. Okay, so start the race, pick that time, day one, right now, today, this video, tonight, whatever. Make the decision to go ahead and start. Okay, and then what does that look like? What does your study time look like? I would love it if you would sit in on one of my classes. Everyone who's watching this video, you're welcome to sit in on a class as a risk-free trial. I go through this kind of stuff in there and I talk about study habits and how to take notes and how to prepare yourself all throughout all of my lectures. You're welcome to try a class out, no obligation to stay in it. So then what? The last thing I wrote on here, again, one last quote. There's so many in this video. There's just so many good quotes. I left off hundreds of quotes, to be honest. So when I look down here at this last quote, it says, we are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence. And you're going to qualify for Amy. It's a pretty excellent accomplishment. It's outstanding. It's still top 0.0001% of students in the nation who make that achievement. There's about 35 million kids who would be eligible to qualify for the AIME if they tried. Now, not all of them do. It's kind of a self-selecting competition, but everybody who's getting an A in their math class is typically told about the competition, and many of them hear about it in some way, and they like to try for it. And out of all those 35 million middle school and high school students, about 7,000 or so will make the AIME. It's a tiny percentage of those who make it. So it's excellence when you get even to that level. So we are what we repeatedly do. You repeatedly do your habits, okay? So therefore, excellence is not an act, but a habit. It's a habit. Start forming the habits. That is the fertile ground from which your success will come. Again, find success through self-discipline, through the formation of habits. I will probably maybe make a part 4 where we'll talk a little bit more about how to use your time study-wise, mathematically speaking, when you're taking your notes. How do you go about that process to make it worth it? Many people complete certain books like Intro to Counting and Probability, and then they still can't do a lot of the questions because they maybe didn't do it all. They skipped the challenge problems. They didn't learn the right way. They didn't take the right notes. All of that stuff can be talked about. I might look at it in a part 4, but I might just look at that as how you can prepare in a different way, that sort of thing. I haven't decided on that yet. Will Durant, by the way, was commenting on an Aristotelian quote from Aristotle, that would be. And so that's it. That's the Discipline is Everything Part 3. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in classes, look inside the description of the video. You're more than welcome to try one out before deciding. It's a risk-free trial. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one.